Hello, this is Matt Bergman, and you are listening / watching to the Punk Rock Libertarians podcast, episode 79, live for the very first time.
Oh my god, dude, we're fucking live.
I know, dude.
Can you believe this shit?
Going live!
Yeah, it's fucking crazy,
This is the first one.
It's fucking some crazy shit, dude.
Some crazy ass shit.
So, there's lots to talk about this week, huh, guys?
Yeah, a ton of stuff, man.
Quite a few things.
I guess we can start off. Let's start off talking about some Gary Johnson. So, Gary Johnson had another gaffe this week, where he was asked during an interview. I believe it was by Chris Matthews, Hardball, and and he was.
Is it true your balls are hard?
How hard are these
hard
balls?
Chris Matthews.
Yeah. So apparently, okay. So he asked him who. I believe it was phrased, who is a world leader that you respect the most? Something like that?
Who is a world leader you respect and admire?
Respect and admire.
Yeah,
and, go ahead.
Okay, so, it's... And then all the the mainstream media outlets build this as Gary Johnson cannot name a single world leader. And no, that was not the question. It is very hard for a libertarian to name a world leader that they admire, because if you look at the United States in relation to the rest of the world, the United States is pretty small government in relation to the rest of the world. So therefore, for Gary Johnson, a small government dude, it's going to be very hard for him to pick his favorite authoritarian strawman.
Right, exactly.
And it's like really nobody gets that,
Yeah.
Gary, why don't you tell me which is your favorite venereal disease?
And he did end up saying, I believe he said...
That's pretty much that question.
He said what's his name? Vicente Fox, the old, the former president of Mexico.
Yeah,
who he had actually, dealt with, on a personal basis, probably, because he was on a border state. That
but the only problem is that Bill Weld actually brought that up, and Bill Weld yelled out, Fox! And he's like, oh, yeah, former President Fox of Mexico, but he
Bill
couldn't...
Weld also say Angela Merkel was his?
I didn't hear that.
Which would be
Dear
fucking
God.
horrible.
That'd be bad.
But would be unsurprising for Bill Weld.
Maybe unsurprising, but that's kind of bad.
Yeah. So yeah, you see the media once again piling on, calling him an isolationist, which is that's just their go-to term when they don't understand what isolationism means.
Probably not.
Gary Johnson's not an isolationist. He has nothing against free trade. He has nothing against, interacting with other countries. He's just against bombing other countries.
All right.
So, it's just, and of course the media is going to pile onto this because they think that Johnson could possibly cost Hillary the election, and so of course they're going to pile on and try and knock him down.
Well, a very good friend of mine posted this on Facebook, Jerry. He said, if a vote for Trump, if a vote for Johnson is a vote for Trump, according to Hillary fans, and if a vote for Hillary, that whole fucking convoluted bullshit that they have about, you're throwing away your vote. It's like, well, you know what? If you're both throwing away your vote by voting for these two, it's like, and one vote's going to go to Hillary. If you want to vote for Hillary, why don't you just vote for Johnson? If you want Trump to win, well, why don't you just vote for Johnson?
Yeah, it's funny too because I guess I know a lot of Hillary people on Facebook, I guess, and everybody's like, "Well, you're just voting for Trump," and it's like, no, it's like when you say that, it's like you're assuming that if it wasn't for Johnson, I would be voting for Hillary, and that's not the case at all. If it wasn't for Johnson, guess what? I just wouldn't fucking vote. In an election where it's just Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, honestly, I just wouldn't vote for either. I don't see enough of a difference. Now, and I've said it a million times, if you held a fucking gun to my head and you made me choose out of the two, I would choose Donald Trump. Just because Hillary is proven to be the ultimate warmonger. Hillary is proven to have the most crony capitalist money behind her. And with Donald Trump, of course, Trump could be a Pandora's box full of shit. But, Trump can't even get all the Republicans behind him. So, from a libertarian standpoint, The Republicans aren't going to be able to pass shit. The Democrats aren't going to be able to pass shit. So Donald Trump might be the dream libertarian candidate if you want like a government, a do-nothing state. You know, which, and I think that's what we want, because most of us can agree here that anytime they are able to pass something, I mean, do we really need another law?
Nope.
Not really. You really don't.
So yeah, we're getting. I think we just need to talk louder towards the phones because it's so far away.
All right.
Sorry guys, we're working through some
first time.
First time.
Be gentle.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. So moving on past Gary Johnson, the debate happened last was the last Tuesday, right?
I think it was last Tuesday.
Last Tuesday. So yeah, I mean that was pretty interesting. What was your guys' take on that?
On the
Anybody?
debate that happened last Tuesday?
Yeah, well, we didn't talk about it. It was last Tuesday. What's up, man? Everything cool?
The debate
No,
was.
I just set up his mic for him because he pushed it up and put it in front of with a pop screen. But I wasn't trying to call attention to it during a live debate. But if you want to know, that's what's going on. So
Thanks for clearing that up, man.
You're welcome.
All right. So, anyways, so yeah, the debate happened. I'll tell you my opinion since no one wants to chime in. So, a lot of people are saying like Hillary Clinton won. And of course, you know, Trump supporters are going to say Trump won. I think everybody lost, but I did like a few things that Trump said, and I didn't really. I maybe liked one thing that Hillary said. For Trump, I like that he said. I like that he talked about the Federal Reserve, and I like that he talked about. You know, he said we should not be the policeman of the world, and I think both of the things are great. Now, is this just talk? Is this just him saying what? Is he trying to get like the Gary Johnson vote? I mean, who knows? But it is kind of cool to see somebody that isn't Ron Paul bring up the Federal Reserve in a debate. So I got real excited when I heard that. And then Ron Paul actually came out with a video later on. Basically, I forget. I think it was on Fox Business. And they were asking him, so what did you think of Trump? You know, they were paying attention. What did you think of Trump's comments on the Fed? He said, well, he's right, but then he was also sort of, the way he phrased it, he was sort of fear-mongering a bit about, you know, letting interest rates go, you know, back to normal, you know, natural levels. And, you know, of course, Ron Paul thinks we should just let it go. You know, just let the market do what the market does and just deal with the consequences as they come, which I agree with. But you know, he did like how Trump pointed out that we were politicizing or that the Fed is politicized.
I did have that moment. I was like, wait, what? Did he? I think we actually when we were watching it, Matt and I did a live debate heckling observation, just a screaming match. And we both kind of came to. I got excited when I heard him mention the Federal Reserve. I mean, I was like, "What? Did he really just say that they're a political entity?"
Yeah.
He mentioned them, but my question is, does Trump really understand them?
I don't think so.
Because I think he does. I mean, he is.
Well,
he does have to deal with getting loans from banks quite.
He's also
quite frequently.
He's also been quoted as saying the U.S. Will never default because we can just print more money. So, I mean, does he really understand hyperinflation?
Well, I mean, theoretically, that's not necessarily wrong.
I mean, I don't know if he's talking about a lot.
I mean, if you hyperinflate,
he's talking about
default.
lowering taxes, and he's talking about a lot of infrastructure spending.
Yeah.
So, you know, how do you do this without printing money? Maybe Trump just wants to become president and put the Federal Reserve like under his power, so he can tell them how much to print. I don't know. I mean, I think there's so many of these quote unquote libertarians for Trump that give Trump like entirely too much credit.
Oh, I'm not giving him any credit. I'm just saying I like the fact that he brought up the Federal Reserve in the middle of a debate. It doesn't happen very often.
Well,
so at the very least, people will like maybe look up the Fed and then maybe see what's going on there.
Maybe, hopefully.
I mean, I'm being optimistic, obviously, but I mean, the one thing now going back to Hillary on the other side, Hillary Clinton, I did like how Hillary said something about getting rid of mandatory minimums.
Which is funny.
So I'll give her props on that. But what were you gonna say?
I think it's funny though that she's bringing up mandatory minimum. She's pandering like that. She's trying to covertly address a larger issue without trying to attach to it.
Is she pandering to what, like Bernie supporter type people?
She's pandering for anybody that's trying to address police brutality by talking about blowing mandatory minimum sentences, because the majority of people know that affects how that affects the prison population.
Right.
So I think she's and then if you just look at who she's covertly trying to target, it's like she's going for Black Lives Matter. She's going for that type of activism, which tend to be Bernie supporters. They're not really attaching to her for the same reasons libertarians don't want to attach to her. They don't trust her. They think she's a warmonger, but they don't trust her either. So I think she's trying to pander to that aspect of the Democratic Party by saying that.
Speaking of Hillary Clinton and Bernie supporters, did you hear that the audio segment that came out about her? Or, I mean, it was a leaked audio clip from one of her, I think it was like something on the campaign, where she was basically calling like Bernie supporters like basement dwellers. And
yeah. She said that there were uneducated basement dwellers or something like, or low income basement dwellers.
Yeah,
that's what. So she basically just addressed a large segment of the population, considering how the economy is so bad. A lot of people my age, they have apartments on their own. They tend to be basements. She's addressing a very large populace that are not all Bernie supporters.
Dude, why don't you just go back to your basement?
You know what, man? Leave me alone.
Why don't we do this podcast?
It's my man cave. It's my man cave.
Oh wait, we used to.
Dude, I thought that was your asshole.
No, that's just manhole.
Yeah, I think that would be a manhole, wouldn't it? As far as infrastructure is concerned.
So who do you think won the debate? Because
what does winning mean?
Well, yeah, exactly. The American people lost, but between Hillary and Trump, who do you think won? All the mainstream media outlets seem to point to Hillary, but Fox News says Trump won.
I mean, if I had to speak objectively on just like purely debating skills and just like presentation wise, I mean, I'd probably say Hillary Clinton, because like she seemed to just keep it together. She didn't really get like Trump wasn't able to get a rise out of her like I thought he would be able to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the way she was talking was very like robotic and very like lizard person-esque. So I mean,
Trump
just seemed to have a little bit more passion, even though he was also kind of getting childish and like flustered at times. So I don't know.
He was
kind of a draw in my eyes, really.
But did you see how a lot of the media outlets took it, especially the social media, quick clips type of clickbait, how they used her personality as a way to appeal to millennials. They actually did an entire article on how she's and they compared her to Jim Halpern. From The Office, from The Office. They compared her to that, saying she totally had a Jim from The Office moment in the political debates. They're trying to make her seem like cool and somehow like just make her, I don't know, fucking marketable to millennials. Who it's funny because none of them, as far as they're fooled by so many horrible things. Like they're fooled, they think like socialism would work or anything like that, but they're not fooled by how shitty of a person Hillary Clinton is. And at her efforts to try to, subconsciously appeal to them.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting, man. But yeah, I don't know. I can't say that any one person won the debate.
Yeah, exactly. I thought there was good blows in each direction. I was rooting for Trump just because, I've hated Hillary ever since growing up. I think she's Hillary Clinton is the establishment. She's the ultimate establishment candidate. And that's like really like fucking. It's really aggravating.
Just like Chelsea would be the perfect example of the stereotyped ideal of white privilege. She really would be.
Oh, dude, I was actually arguing on a thread earlier where I was actually on the dude from Youth Brigade. He posted a comment about like pro Clinton, anti Trump. And somebody said on there like Hillary Clinton is the only candidate talking about white privilege. And it's like, what? I mean, dude, is she a billionaire yet? I don't know. I mean, she's like rich as a motherfucker, dude. it's like, I mean, okay, she's talking about white privilege. Oh boy, wow. I bet broke ass white people are so excited to hear that.
I mean,
Yeah.
she said that while she was wearing some like ridiculous, like some $2,000 like Brooks Brothers dress or whatever. So she's sitting there talking about how people are overprivileged, and yet she's wearing a $2,000 garment, which looked like shit. I don't know what it looked like. Some type of shag carpeting you'd see in someone's basement.
Wait, was this
in the
Hillary
80s.
or Chelsea?
Hillary, when she went out there and started talking about white privilege, you know. So I mean, they're both just. But Chelsea's the complete definition of the privileged child.
Yeah.
Not just because she's a presidential child, but she's experienced everything as far as political corruption goes. She's everything that's wrong with America.
Totally. I mean, and plus the white privilege shit gets ever so more tiring. We've had a 2-term black president at this point.
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
And I don't know. Anyways,
I mean, I didn't grow up, you know, fantastically rich. You know, I grew up in a working class neighborhood. My parents were working class. The privileges that they're referencing are establishment privileges. They're not everyday person privileges.
And I mean, you know, I'm not going to say it's racism doesn't exist, but I mean, another thing I will say that a lot of liberals won't admit. I mean, it does. It goes both ways. You know, there's you know, I grew up in a neighborhood that was kind of like majority black, and I experienced racism growing up from the other side, black on white, and I wasn't delivering any white on black to people, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, when I hear about all this white privilege stuff, I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't grow up in a climate like that, you know. Like, I grew up in a neighborhood where, you know, you could have a group of black guys walk up to you for being a single white guy and yell a bunch of like cracker comments and threaten to beat your ass. So I mean, that's just where I came from.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have any of that where I came from either. I mean, most of it was just like the privilege, or I don't even know if privilege is the right word, but it was more just like the discrepancy was between like, it was like along like money lines, like whose parents are rich, whose parents are not that rich. I mean, even though all of us were pretty much middle class, I mean, there weren't really any like dirt poor people in my school, but it was like, you know, if you come to school and your parents gave you a Mustang, like, you're cooler than the kid who's riding around in the Geo Prism.
Well, I don't think anybody was cool in the Geo Prism.
Well, yeah, but that's exactly my point.
Okay, so you know, we've got people in the comments. We've got a troll. Sorry, but where you grew up don't matter. You are privileged. You truly don't understand, do you? White guy talking.
Don't go to law school.
I don't go to law school. Okay.
Okay.
Don't go to law school. Okay.
We'll stay out of law school, man.
Well, yeah, none of
Okay.
us are going to law school. No, I grew up in a neighborhood.
Yes, Barry. Racism is structural.
Yeah. I grew up in a neighborhood.
Yeah,
that
and you know, I think
was
most of
completely
these
diverse.
and most of these race issues are indeed fact class issues.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, I think there are some cultural issues too. You know, because when you talk about Black Lives Matter, you know, it's the Black Lives Matter never talks about who kills the most black males, which are in fact other black males.
Wait, so can you say that again?
Black males are responsible for killing the most black males.
Yeah, but it's white males are also responsible for killing the most white males. It just is because they live. Black people tend to live in the same areas as other black people,
as do white people, which is why white males are responsible for killing more white males. You know, but that's not brought up, even though those are the numbers, because what's brought up is this divisive issue. It could be a black cop killing a black male, and as you saw with Alton Sterling, you know, the media billed that as Alton Sterling gunned down by police officers for selling CDs. False. You know, like when I first read those headlines, I was like, motherfuckers. I was so fucking pissed at the cops. And, you know, I was just livid at the cops. And then I read into the story, and I watched, with Alton Sterling, there was 2 videos showing the incident from both directions. And I watched them both probably close to like 10 times each. And, you know, there just wasn't enough proof to show that Alton Sterling wasn't going for his gun. He was obviously wrestling with the cops, and he had a gun. They knew he had a gun. That's why they went there, was because somebody called and reported that Alton Sterling threatened them with his gun.
Right.
So that's why they went there. They didn't go there just because he was selling CDs. But, you know, like I said, like from reading those headlines, I was pissed as shit. I was livid. And if people just read those headlines, they're going to get pissed as shit. But when you read into the story, and then you find out that Alton Sterling was a 5-time felon, you know, and he was on the sex offender registry, which I think in a lot of cases is bullshit. I don't know his entire story, but I believe one of the other cases was domestic abuse. There was another one for assault. So, you know, you can see that this guy's a violent person, 5-time felon. And then, like I said, go and watch the video. You know, what you'll see is, you know, you don't get the greatest picture in the video, but you can see the cops wrestling with him. They obviously just didn't shoot him right away. And then one of the cops says he's going for his gun, and then they shoot him. Now, whether that cop lied and said that he was going for his gun, I don't know. But the bottom line is, when you live in a free country, it's innocent until proven guilty. And that goes for, I don't believe cops deserve any sort of special privilege. I believe everybody is innocent until proven guilty, and until you can prove that cop guilty, you know, you really don't have a leg to stand on. And then furthermore, you know, it's there's actually, in numbers wise, there's more white people being killed by cops than black people. You know, you could have 4 white people killed by cops in one day and 1 black person, and you're only going to hear about the black person because that's the divisive narrative that the mainstream media chooses to put out there.
Yep. Speaking of
Meters should have a right to own firearms, and I believe yes. Once you've paid your dues, once you've done your time, say you're an ex-felon. You know, say you go to jail for your felony. You know, you do your time, and then when you get out, you know, you want to purchase a firearm. Say you even just want to do it for home defense. You know, and if you get caught with that firearm, and you know you're not doing anything wrong with it, you're not knocking off a 7-Eleven, you're not robbing somebody, you know, if you just get caught with, and your only crime is the possession of that gun, I mean, is that worth a mandatory minimum that we all have to pay for?
No.
You know, I mean, you're essentially getting a mandatory minimum for, it's essentially pre-crime.
Right.
You know, and I mean, registration doesn't work for dick.
No, it really doesn't.
Okay, so we diverged a little bit off topic. So what's up next here?
All right, we were talking about the debate. I guess we can move on.
Yeah, so the Chicago Tribune has been the 6th large newspaper to endorse Gary Johnson.
Yeah.
Trump has received 0 endorsements from large newspapers. So
unsurprisingly,
but that's some big news. But
it's more surprising. It's more surprising that
the quote that they put in, I think, was probably the biggest. Oh
yeah, what was that?
Proven point of that entire article. I think that article was actually great, and the thing was, it didn't attack Trump. It didn't attack Clinton. It just showed the fundamental reasons of why they're not good choices. It didn't go after their character. It just literally went after what their positions were. And how it said Trump is the biggest threat to the Constitution, which I think he actually is. I do think he's a huge threat to the Constitution. I think Hillary will subvert the Constitution. You know, she'll find ways around it, and then she'll get out of office. But I think Trump would be the one to try to go and amend them and make changes.
Yep. I mean,
he can't amend the Constitution though.
You know what I mean? I mean, he would try to get
like executive orders. You mean? Yeah, stuff like that.
That's honestly what I meant. Sorry. I mean, because he'll utilize. People feel he'll utilize a lot more executive orders than Hillary would.
Yeah, he might. I mean, like either way, between those two, we're fucked. Nobody wins. I mean, So, I don't know. I mean, it's just basically like Hillary is proven to do all these things. You know, Donald Trump, he's a Pandora's box of shit.
Yeah.
You know, he has talked a little more non-interventionist. It's not that I trust him by any means. I think he's an idiot on trade. I think he's an idiot on charging China 30% tariffs that are only going to hit us really hard.
That's only going to hurt our.
I wonder.
And then they're not going to help any. They're just going to throw more money in the government's belt that they can waste. You know?
The reason why though that I think that quote was probably one of the best ones. It says it's directly from the editors. It says we reject it's something along the lines of we reject the radical notion that a vote for a third party principled candidate is throwing away your vote.
Yeah.
Like that was like one of the opening remarks from the editors. So I mean I think that's a big deal. From Chicago, they're not going with Hillary.
Yeah,
well,
that's a huge,
totally.
It's a huge newspaper, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
considering the amount of influence Obama has in Chicago, you'd expect that they would. Like, nope, they're like, no, we're not endorsing. We're endorsing the idea of another candidate.
I think it. Yeah, I mean, I think it may not matter this election. I mean, probably Hillary or Trump are going to win, right? But I mean, the fact that you have this almost like a sea change happening, where you're having these big newspapers come out and endorse third-party candidates, and you're having people in the media endorse third-party candidates. Very few people, but still. And you just have, like, average Joe Schmo is hearing about these third parties, and it's not just like... I remember when I first heard about third parties, it was like the Green Party, and it was basically just like... because, you know, weed is cool and like, oh, the Green Party, man, Ralph Nader, bro.
I think the Green Party was my first introduction to the third party.
Yeah,
I think it was when I was Nader and LeDuc.
Yeah.
Because anytime you went to a punk show, all like, you know, the Food Not Bombs, all those leftist groups, or more left-leaning groups, I should say.
Right.
They were all about Green Party. That's the first introduction I had to third party at all, was Ralph Nader.
Yeah. I just remember like hearing about him probably in like middle school. But it's like I never like took it seriously, and I never thought like, oh, there's any possibility for these people to get elected. I didn't even think I heard of a Libertarian Party until like college.
Anarchism was one I had heard, but
Anarchism
I was actually
as far as like people that were, you know, pushing left, like any other options.
I mean, I was
like,
aware of what anarchism. Well, basic. I guess the misinterpretation of anarchism.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say.
Which is like the violent, like, you know, tear everything down, and, you know, property theft and all this nonsense. I had heard about that, you know, throwing bombs into buildings and stuff like that. They don't teach you about like the real anarchy in schools.
No,
the peaceful, voluntary, free market anarchy.
They don't also tell you that Jefferson was more leaning towards a voluntarist or an anarchist. Which was one of the conversations him and John Adams had when they were both in France, and he made some comment in a discussion they were having where he doesn't believe that a government has a right to declare boundaries or something along those lines. He doesn't agree that philosophical boundaries, that the boundaries need to be changed and should be changed even if radically by future generations. So he advocated for the republic to not be permanent if the society didn't suit it.
Right.
They don't mention that. They don't mention that he was pretty much an anarchist.
They also don't mention that he owned slaves either. But
it's amazing, you know. We don't really hear about that, do we? I mean, and I love you know, reading about, you know, founding fathers and everything, but you know, you never do hear that. You never hear that, you know, George Washington had slaves. They never get into the slaveholding.
Yeah.
When you talk about the Civil War. Then
they're like, suddenly it's Robert E. Lee had slaves, and
they make sure you know everybody had slaves, but they regret to inform you that some of the founding fathers were slave owners.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Have you ever heard of the book A Renegade History of the United States?
Yeah, but was that Tom DiLorenzo?
No, it's Thaddeus Russell.
Oh, okay. You're right. Yeah.
It's a cool book, man. It's basically,
I like Thaddeus Russell.
Yeah, he like basically frames it as like early American history was this like battle between, and it continues to be this way, this battle between like degenerates and like moral, you know, like moralists, like people that are, you know, trying to control chaos, and people who just want to like do their own thing and like fuck off, basically.
Yeah.
And you know, he brings up some like good examples, and there's a lot of citations and whatnot, or a lot of references at least. But check it out. It's pretty cool.
Totally.
So what else we got? Oh, Trump. So I think this was like yesterday. Apparently Trump's tax returns or refunds leaked, and apparently hasn't paid federal income tax in 15 years.
Oh my God.
Something like that.
15 years. Holy crap. How do you get away with that?
That doesn't mean he hasn't paid taxes. It means he hasn't paid like federal income tax, but
So he's paid state income tax.
Yeah, I guess.
So that's a pretty, I mean, not for nothing.
Well, hey, taxation is theft, so...
Yeah, exactly.
What if,
Taxation
bro?
is theft, but you know what?
What we should be angry about is the fact that we...
You couldn't do it too. You should be mad that you couldn't do it too. That you could... Like,
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I could have not been paying taxes for 15 fucking years. What the fuck? Why don't people get mad at something they should get mad at? They should be mad at the fact that Donald Trump didn't pay billions or millions of taxes and the government didn't collapse.
It's like if somebody captured us, if like ISIS came in here and captured us today, and they started... And it was like the three of us, and they started beating us, right? But they only beat me and Matt, and they didn't beat you. That would be like us saying, like why aren't you beating Josh?
Why aren't you beating Josh too? Instead of like saying, why are you beating me?
Because I have the longest beard. I'll blend in. I'll blend in.
They thought you were one of them.
Brothers. Move out of the way.
A lot better. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like,
Aloha snack
It's
bar.
like, instead of complaining about the fact that the other guy isn't getting his money stolen, why don't you complain about you getting your money stolen? But, you know, of course, most people don't see it that way. They don't see taxation as theft.
They don't.
They don't make the connection. So
I mean, you can get a dictionary. You know, you can pull out a dictionary right now and get the Webster's definition step by step when they go from taxes and how taxes are compulsory.
Yeah.
So you look up compulsory, and compulsory is an act to get somebody to do what you want with coercion. And then you look up coercion. You just keep going and going until it's like you literally end up with taxation is force. It ends up with it. Yeah, that's literally what it ends with.
Taxation is extortion. Taxation is really slavery. You know.
yeah.
Well, it's a radical Marxist notion.
You could say it's a soft form of slavery, but
you could say it's
a form of slavery.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole like. At what point, if
It's
the
not
government
exactly
takes
chain slavery?
At what point? At what percentage of your income that the government takes does it become slavery? Right.
Yeah.
Like is 50%, 60%? Does it have to be 100%?
Well, that's taxing you. That's taxing you on everything and saying you really don't own it.
Well, you know,
you don't own your own body.
Like I think a theft or a robbery, it's kind of something that happens once. You know, like Spooner will point out, like, you know, the highway robber, he'll rob you and then generally he'll get the fuck out of your face. But the government, you know, follows you around and keeps extorting from you, and it's the continuousness of it.
And deceives you into making you think that it's moral.
I would say makes it a soft slavery.
Yeah, a soft slavery.
It's softcore.
It's like softcore slavery.
Softcore slavery.
Dude, that's the podcast title.
Yeah,
softcore slavery.
Yeah.
Somebody email
there we
that
go.
to me.
Softcore slavery.
All right.
You know that people are getting screwed, but they don't show you all the way. That's pretty much what softcore slavery is. You don't really know.
Yeah, all you get is like half the dude's ass.
Oh god!
And like maybe a little bush.
Did they make some comment about how it's like? Was it Pablo Francisco, comedian, made a comment about how softcore porn? He's like, you literally, it just sounds like people could be moving furniture. It's like you don't see anything anywhere. It's like, oh, put it in the corner. God, this is so heavy.
So let's talk about like Chelsea Clinton's science denier. Like, yeah. So
that's her new cabinet position.
Chelsea Clinton, science denier.
Yeah. So apparently this week, Chelsea Clinton has said that people are overdosing in Colorado off of marijuana.
Off of Mary Jane.
Yes.
Ridiculous.
Yes. And,
seems absurd.
Another thing that she said this week.
Show me the documents.
Chelsea Clinton has also promised that Hillary Clinton will continue to enforce federal marijuana laws, which, you know, like Obama said from day one that he wasn't going to go after dispensaries in states where it was legal. Then, you know, of course, then he started having the DEA go after them, but since then he's pulled it back. But apparently, according to Chelsea Clinton, Hillary's going to go back in hard on it. And I mean,
going in hard in the paint.
Yeah. That means Hillary is going to outwardly violate the 10th Amendment.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Essentially.
She hasn't even done it yet, and they're already bragging about her doing it.
I mean, that's almost enough to just... Man, I don't know, dude. What do you think Trump's going to do about that shit, though?
You know what? I think if Trump had any level of business savvy, he would look at it as a businessman and be like, you know what? what if I invest in these instead? It's a profitable industry.
Oh yeah.
Why wouldn't he want to do that? As a businessman, what would say, you know what, all we have to do is legalize something that wasn't illegal until somebody thought it was, so the problem.
What is Trump's record speaking on the drug war, though?
He hasn't really mentioned much on that.
I feel like I remember him saying something like in the 90s.
He hasn't said anything good as far as I've heard.
Yeah. But he hasn't said anything bad, per se, right?
I haven't really heard much.
I mean, he did.
Like,
he was talking about the stop and frisk bullshit. So I mean,
so he wants to bring that back,
which was
with
pretty
a vengeance.
terrifying. He's like, we need to make a federal stop and frisk force.
Yes,
That's ridiculous.
Trump is terrifying.
Yeah, there's like a Gestapo.
Who was more? Oh man, I don't know.
My God, did that single thing that he said really make him out to be the Hitler that the left says he is? He wants to make a new police force, the stop and frisk force.
I mean, I don't know that he necessarily said those exact words. I mean, he said that they should encourage police outfits to do that. I don't know. I mean, it's just fucking Trump talking his ass off.
Great. So now everyone can
He's
walk
just
around with
in
the
that
potential of
in
being
that movie.
molested.
He was trying to appeal to like the Blue Lives Matter crowd.
I think he's trying to toe the right line. As long as he doesn't say anything about cops and police brutality, as long as he never speaks out about that, he's going to retain the ultra right.
Because he totally dodged that question that he started talking about stop and frisk on.
Yeah.
Was a question about like race relations.
Yeah.
And then somehow he like got completely off tangent.
He turned it around.
And was like, well, what we really need is law and order. And
Dun-dun.
black people, and then he kind of spun it around to like black people are the biggest victims, and we need law and order to keep them safe. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
So all I heard is that that America needs more Dick Wolf. Anytime he said law and order like 4 or 5 times, and every time he said it, I think everybody was like, dun dun
dun dun. Yeah,
it's like that's what we need. We need more Dick Wolf. We need more Dick Wolf in our lives. Bring back Chris Maloney.
We need more tremendous Dick Wolf.
Dick Wolf. Hello, have you seen my Dick Wolf?
He said tremendous a lot.
You talk about China. Thank God we didn't play that drinking game. We'd have been dead.
Yeah.
Every one of their little catchphrases.
So,
but Hillary didn't cough.
Like there was some other big news this week too when we're talking about marijuana. Besides that dumb bitch Chelsea. In New Jersey, apparently, there's a law being proposed to legalize weed and expunge marijuana sentences.
And
so I think that's pretty big. I mean, who knows if it's going to pass with Chris Christie's fat ass at the helm? But he
doesn't want people eating all the donuts. That's what it is.
We had a show we had a show called Chris Christie's a big fat fucking hypocrite, and he was basically saying like smoking like drugs is unhealthy or something like that. Like, we need to protect people.
I like
from
how
drugs.
the guy says that people who smoke marijuana have no self-control. If you look at yourself in the mirror, dude.
Yeah, some along those lines. I mean, but hey, the expunging of records idea, I mean, that's awesome.
That
I don't even think they did that in like Colorado.
That's progress. Yeah, they haven't done it anywhere yet.
Because I mean, it's great that no more people are getting thrown in jail. But what about the people who have their lives basically ruined because when they go to try and find a job, it says, "Oh, you've got a criminal record. Oh, what'd you do?"
How long is that going to take?
I had some dope in my pocket. I had some weed.
Think about how long it's going to take for all of the state records to be updated as that marijuana charges are expunged. Just imagine how long it's going to take for.
Are they still using paper records?
God,
probably.
Jersey. I mean, every state, as soon as you go to the state level, they try to use the most antiquated shit possible. They don't want to spend any more money. They want to spend money on the bullshit they want. They don't give a fuck about you. Once
but I guess if you go
system, you're done.
Right.
Okay, so let's now go to the audience. And is there anything on your mind that you want to hear us talk about? And just like throw some shit out there. So there's a little bit of a delay, but let's see. Let's see what you guys are looking to chat about. This is our first time trying this live. Okay, so Barry Klopfer has said that we should discuss Snowden. I'm guessing he's talking about the movie. Talk about it. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we talked about this. Josh and I, Josh right here, he's my vape bro. We're like vape.
Stop.
Yeah,
Butt buddies, vape bros.
Yeah.
Stop with the
So we actually saw this movie in Columbia, Maryland, which is Snowden's home turf, and we saw this at the Snowden Theater.
Snowden Theater.
So we saw Snowden at the Snowden, and I think we both enjoyed it. You know, it was a pretty fucking awesome movie.
I did like it. I mean, I had I mean, I understood the message and I agreed with what he did. And this is coming from, like I said, a person that I was in the intelligence field when I was in the Army, and you know, was it a textbook violation? Absolutely, it was a complete textbook violation of standard operating procedure as far as declassification of documents or as far as dissemination. It was textbook. You know, you were not supposed to do that, but I didn't. You know, I saw this was a really good movie. They trumped up a little bit. Trumped up. His I think some of his abilities as far as what I mean, he was an IT guy. We're talking systems. We're not talking. He didn't have the James Bond-esque type of job, but the message actually, which one of the things that I actually liked was that how it showed how enthusiastic he was about Obama, and then it has the narrator, which I believe is also Joseph Gordon-Levitt, says, you know, but I was wrong. I couldn't trust him either, or something along those lines. It showed that, you know, his disenchantment wasn't with just the right; it was with the left, you know. So I like that it did give him more of a. It didn't really explain politically why he did what he did. Oh, this president, it was these policies.
So it was nonpartisan, basically.
It was very. I think it was a fairly nonpartisan. It started out very, very. I mean, because his girlfriend was a Democrat. I don't know if she still is. But I know she's now with him in Russia. She went over there.
That
to
is
live with
really
him.
cool.
Really?
Yeah, she went over to Russia to live with him.
Russia to live with him.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking badass.
She must be a badass chick.
Totally.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean,
yeah, I need to see that movie, man. I actually meant to watch it this weekend, but kind of got sidetracked.
You know, another thing one of the audience members has brought up, and if you guys didn't hear, if you're just tuning in, we're what do you want us to talk about? Comment in there. But another thing that people are bringing up in here is possible second terms. Like, do you guys think that if Trump or Hillary win, either of them will get a second term?
Is the world going to be around that long? No,
I don't know. Well, I don't know, honestly.
Well, you know,
I mean, probably not.
It's a terrifying prospect.
I mean,
can there be a worse candidate that would come along that'd be like, oh, we gotta stick with this, this asshole,
Herbert Camacho.
You know, Jared, you laugh, but there's always a worse candidate. Every time there's a worse candidate.
True. Yeah, and I've made that argument before, so I am kind of being a little bit of a hypocrite.
Exactly. So
it can't get any worse than this. Shit, they proved us wrong again.
Yeah, second terms, I don't know. It could happen. You know, I don't know. It would suck in either case.
Yeah,
it would suck in
I don't
either
know.
case.
But see, I want to say no. I want to say in the next election, and then this is being way too optimistic, but whatever. Fuck it. I think that a third-party candidate will have an even bigger chance in the next election.
Maybe, you know, because
I don't know if it's enough to get them into the job, but I do feel like it may be enough.
I think they're going to be they're going to be considered a contender.
Yeah,
mainstream media considered contender.
But we just need a strong, like a really strong. Some really strong candidates.
You know, like I think one way to look at it, like if as it keeps getting worse, maybe the problem is the solution, and as it gets so worse, then maybe people will realize what it is and fix it. So I mean,
or just tear it all down,
or that
maybe
that could happen,
which would be okay.
Who knows? But if you tear it all down, depending on who grabs the reins, it could end up being worse than it already is.
True.
So
although
we really wouldn't want that to happen.
Yeah, I think eventually that's gonna. I mean, if we want true liberty, that's gonna have to happen. But before that happens, we need more liberty-minded people. We need like a majority of liberty-minded people, so that it doesn't collapse back into some kind of like fascist dictatorship. You know what seems to happen in every like socialist revolution. This is what pretty much occurs, right?
Yeah, and I like how they think that that's what's going to happen if a libertarian's elected. They think that the society is going to plunge into the depths, like it's going to be Road Warrior, or Mad Max and Fury Road. That's what they expect. They think that's what a libertarian society is. It's just crazy people with no rules, wearing like hockey equipment and machine guns. That's what they expect with libertarian candidates.
Candidates?
That's what they expect when people start thinking of like what I've seen this shit, like what happens with libertarians. They were actually using that and saying, well, it's Star Trek, that's a socialist society. Like, it's called science fiction.
Yeah.
Exactly where socialism belongs. It's like, in the fiction section.
And it's post-scarcity, which, I mean, the whole concept of post-scarcity doesn't really make any sense, in my opinion, because even if all of your, like, natural resources are not scarce, your time is always going to be scarce. You're always going to have a finite amount of life, unless, like, we can grant people immortality somehow. But then there's always, like, the death of the universe is going to happen. So, I mean, theoretically speaking, there's no such thing as post-scarcity. But they're talking more like, oh, when we can just 3D print everything that we need, and it costs us, like, 1/1,000,000th of a cent each time, and, there's basically no one goes hungry, none of that. That's sort of the world that Star Trek lives in.
Yeah.
But it's like we don't have that world.
We don't.
And at the same time, even if we didn't have that world, I don't want people telling me what to do.
Okay,
forcing me to do shit.
Okay, so somebody just asked, will Austin Peterson be able to garner the same media attention in 2020 as Gary Johnson this year? And I'm just like, fuck Austin Peterson.
No, he's too bombastic.
I mean, Austin Peterson, I don't know if you guys listened to him before, but I've said it many a time. He reminds me of like the libertarian Marco Ruby.
Rubio, you mean?
Yeah,
Rubio.
yeah.
Jack
Marco
Ruby?
Rubio, whatever.
Whoa, wrong Ruby.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the guy. The guy's a douche, and I've dealt with him personally, and he's been a douche to me personally. And I mean, the guy's just like a fucking asshole. He's, I mean,
people can change, man.
I think he's like
people can change, and I feel like he is trying to go against his nature of being a douche, and he is
Austin Pyramids of Pussy.
Yeah,
Peterson, really?
I feel like Austin has tried to be a little bit nicer, a little more diplomatic, but I don't know. I'm just not falling for it. I'm just too familiar with the guy. So, and if he was the LP's candidate, I just couldn't see myself getting as excited about Austin Peterson. I'm not even though I agree with Austin Peterson, probably 95% of the time, I don't like the way he's saying what he's saying. I'm kind of fine with what he's saying. I just don't like the way that he says it. And I don't feel like I could go around to my friends like I could about Gary Johnson. I don't feel like I can go to people and I can be like, check out Gary Johnson. He just comes off as a decent human being. Austin Peterson is like Liberty Troll 2.0, or Liberty Troll 69.0 with
he's a troll
on top of
I really think the most idealistic libertarian ticket would be Tom Woods and Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro?
Does Ben Shapiro classify as a libertarian?
I think he's more like he'd be like the Weldian candidate at that point. They seem liberty minded, but they also seem a little bit out of their they have like one foot in, one foot out.
Shapiro's been good on like the political correctness stuff and like shitting on Hillary. I don't know that I've seen him say anything.
He like
the Green Party could use Alex Jones.
I mean, honestly, like for me, Shapiro, he's a lot like Milo. Like,
exactly.
I enjoy it.
Sort of. I think he's smarter than Milo, but
no, I don't.
Yeah, well, Milo's still a fucking genius.
I love Milo.
Not for nothing, and I don't mean this because Milo is gay. I mean, he's not as flamboyant about his opinions. Shapiro's very matter of fact. He's very textbook, and he sounds extremely concise.
Yeah.
Milo sounds the exact same way, except he's very flamboyant about it. He's very in your face.
Dude, I would love to see a top Milo ticket, though.
Oh, my God. And not for nothing. Milo Yiannopoulos, I watch those, and I cringe with delight to see people's faces when he asks the questions that he asks.
What, the college stuff?
Yeah, oh, man, I love it. I just love just how he's just no fucks
We're getting angry faces.
I think the name of his tour is called Dangerous Faggot.
It's the Dangerous Faggot.
The Dangerous Faggot tour with Milo Yiannopoulos.
People getting mad that we're giving Milo props?
So somebody did just say, okay, somebody just said Johnson could have picked better than Weld though, and from a libertarian standpoint, I totally agree. Weld is. You could say he's kind of libertarian in that he was defending LGBT rights before Democrats would even dare do it.
In the 90s.
Yeah. You could say he's libertarian in that way, but
gun control and
yeah, he's kind of a gun grabber. I think he was good in that, you know, he was a name that people knew, but, you know, if he's not saying the right things, you know, well, what is that? He was good in that, you know, you can say you've got two-term governors, you know, running for president. You know, he was good in that way. In that way,
makes political sense.
Well, he's still
in that way he was like a dream team candidate. You know,
I still think he's a Republican. Honestly,
and it's like I'll suffer Weld if Gary Johnson is the president, but you know, otherwise, like if Weld ran as a libertarian in 2020 as for president, yeah, I wouldn't vote for the guy. I'd be railing against the dude. I don't think he's real liberty. You know. But I like Johnson enough to tolerate him. And I understand why Johnson picked him. You know, Weld is a money-making machine. He's great at fundraising.
Well, Weld is honestly, and I don't mean this in regards to his age, but he's like a relic of a bygone era where Republicans could be moderate. You know, he was the last moderate Republican. I mean.
Yeah, he's not like a part of the
which
Christian
is why,
right or the neoconservative.
He's literally
right.
he should be a mantelpiece for Republicans at least, minus his the gun grabbing tendency of how they should be. Like I think he's the closest thing to a true Republican that's left. To be frank,
right,
dude. Fucking Dawson is commenting, dude.
What's he say?
Dude, it's guys. James Vanderbeek is on here, and his like he's got, since he's famous and shit from like Dawson's Creek, he has to use like a Facebook alias as Paul Mercer, and he's commenting right now, dude. Fucking A, dude.
What is he saying?
Fucking A, repping the creek, dude. Hell
what
yeah.
What is he saying, dude?
He's
Free the Vape 2016.
He says vape me, bro, or something, or vape me. Okay. All right, so
Milo for what? Milo for moderator. That would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
For debate moderator?
Yeah, for debate moderator, except minus the fact that you already know he's biased towards Trump. If he could be nonpartisan in how he moderates, which I don't think he could be.
No, dude, there's no way.
If he was like, you know,
but neither can Lester Holt. So.
Oh, are you kidding? There was such pandering to Hillary the whole time.
Dude, did you see that video of Lester Holt or Trump like stiffing Lester Holt on the handshake?
No.
Like he
stiffed him on the handshake?
Yeah, like Hillary comes up and gives him a handshake, and then Trump like basically just walks right by, and he's like kind of got his hand out, and then he does like one of these where he like pulls it back behind his head and like grabs the back of his shirt collar. Like it was
trying to make it look.
Yeah, just trying to make it look like he was.
Which is funny. Why would he? Which means this wasn't planned. If you think about it, like
what wasn't planned?
His the way he acted wasn't planned. Like Holt thought he was going to get a handshake. That's why he did the awkward thing. Like
he thought
the first reaction. I think if he knew it was going to surprise Lester Holt, I mean Lester Holt had the normal reaction anybody else would, just to not look awkward yourself.
Yeah.
Pull your hand back. But he could have just held his hand out, and it could have been another media catastrophe. You know, Trump won't even shake the moderator's hand. Is it because, what's the reason behind this?
Maybe, I mean.
Anytime something with the economy came up, Trump gave the right answer, which is just enough basic economics with his own flourishes and bullshit for the average economic answer. He twisted it around just so people who don't understand economics think it's intelligent.
Right. You mean like raising taxes forces business?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the average American doesn't know that. Completely understand business, so he made it to make it look like he was better on the economy than Hillary was because he knew I know numbers.
Cool. Welcome for tuning in.
Are we doing
to our first live podcast?
Are we doing the spin zone?
The spin zone? Yeah. Josh and I are actually hanging out. We both have our work tomorrow, so we're possibly going to do a spin zone later. So if you want to tune in later on, we might throw on some records, possibly.
Some dank records.
Yeah, some punk records.
Some
dank punk rock records.
Yeah, people want to talk about punk, and that's what we do. We just play punk records.
We try to keep the politics to a minimum. We just talk about the music.
Actually, we don't try to keep them to a minute. We're just playing records. We can talk about politics.
No. We try to somehow not bring it up.
Yeah, it's kind of like bringing punk back to PRL. Because.
Making PRL punk again.
Yeah,
make PRL punk again.
Yeah, when I sorry about the volume, guys. We're working with a fucking telephone.
Yeah, we got a cell phone across the room trying to get everybody in the shot.
Yeah,
so
but
the audio isn't going to be
It's not going to be perfect.
We'll
We're
work on
trying.
a solution for next time.
Yeah, like
hopefully.
in case you're a newcomer to this, we've been doing this podcast thing for quite some time. We do this every week. We record on Sunday nights, and we usually put it out later in the week.
Mm-hmm.
And this is episode 79. So we've been doing this for about a year and a half now. And when you listen to the recorded version, what you're going to be hearing are these microphones that we're speaking into. So you're going to get much better sound. Whereas right now you're just hearing everything off of a fucking telephone.
Yeah, sorry.
A fucking,
my
cell phone.
LG's not that good. Also, there is an episode. There is a Gary Johnson on PRL episode.
We interviewed Gary Johnson. I believe it was episode 40. I don't know. It's called the
42,
Gary
I
Johnson
think.
episode. Just go to the website, use the search bar. You'll find it.
Yeah,
and,
we actually-
It's also on YouTube, so check that out.
Yeah, we actually did a spin zone last night, and we played some No Effects, and then we did a spin zone last week, and we played some Against Me. So somebody's mentioning those bands. So that's like that's kind of the vein of what we're doing with Spin Zone. We played Circle Jerks, Crass,
Suicidal Tendencies.
yeah, Suicidal, The Clash, The Ramones. I think
Dictators.
the Naked Ray Gun, Screeching Weasel.
Descendants.
Yeah, the Forgetters, Jawbreaker, J Church, Strawman,
Bouncing Souls, I think, too.
Yeah, we played some
All the
obscure shit. We haven't played Bouncing Souls yet, dude. So
I thought we did. I thought we did on the first one.
We
Okay.
haven't. I want to play some Souls. We can play some Souls.
First album, though.
But,
Hopeless Romantic.
That's not their first album, dude. That's like their fifth album.
It's the
All
first
right,
album
guys.
from me.
No, yeah.
Save it for the
First
spin
album
zone,
from me.
man.
Okay,
Save it for the
so-
spin zone.
Yeah, we're saving that
That's
shit
the
for our
first
Spin
episode.
Zone. Yeah,
I think that's the coolest
Black
album.
Flag. I mean, you guys are gonna hate me. Oh, Youth Brigade. I fucking loved Youth Brigade. It's a fucking great live band, dude. And we've already played some Fear, and we can play some more Fear tonight if you tune in and call for some Fear. I fucking love Fear.
Call for fear.
Call.
Comment for fear.
Yeah, we'll fucking play some Fear, dude. That's Tom Moog there. Or, sorry, Tom Mong. I have horrible eyes. But I definitely know Tom Mong. He's a fucking awesome dude. And, yes, we will play some Fear tonight. I swear, dude. I think I'm going to play something from Have Another Beer with Fear. Their second record. What is that, More Beer? Yeah, I'm going to play something. I'm going to play for something from More Beer. Have Another Beer with Fear was like a later record in the 90s, which I don't know. But we'll definitely play some Fear. But so until next time, live free.
Or die.
Statism's footprint is the blood that is shed, drenching the flags on the tax bombs in red. Poisons by a few at the expense of the many, sold to the gods in a death machine. You can't justify killing by economic gain. For God, country, and democracy, you can put freedom in gunpoint in a foreign land. You support the troops, then bring them home. I believe that you will do the best for you. And I believe that we have the power, I hate the state, and I know I'm a slave. We can make the break the power. Society owes individuals nothing more than non-interference with natural rights. Once a virtuous person fully comprehends the non-aggression principle, the violence of the state becomes obsolete.